my channel. My name is Melody and welcome back to my Simple Valley home. In today's video, we're going to be decorating my Pottery Barn cabinet for fall. It's my first decorate with me video for fall season and my new house, so I'm so excited to decorate this little space. I was inspired by using a lot of dried elements and lots of silver and just bringing all those fall feels in this little space. If you guys enjoy decorating little cabinets and also vignettes, especially for fall, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and let's go ahead and start decorating.
To start a base on my cabinet, I'm going to be using the same books and the same style that I had for my summer cabinet. The only thing I did is I pulled out the blue books, but I kept all the fall feels by using my color tones this year, which is green, browns, and reds. Changing the space makes it feel a lot different when you add two different elements, and my go-to is florals and a print. So this print was perfect to switch up. I got this from Hobby Lobby. I love the mutedness and also the pears. You're going to see some pears influenced in my cabinet. My next go-to is this gorgeous basket that I got from Hobby Lobby years back, and I'm always switching up the florals. These dried hydrangeas are from my neighbor, and I love that they were free, and also it creates that perfect texture that just screams fall. It's just adding the green tones that I want to create throughout my home, and it just creates that coziness. And of course, it's balancing out the left hand side of my cabinet to create that heaviness. I'm going to be adding pops of red for my fall season, and I'm going to be using the red theory, and you will see that throughout my home. So the first step is adding this beautiful urn that I got from Goodwill for $3.99.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started on decorating the cabinet for fall. This year I decided to go with silver. I wanted to create an antique look and I wanted it to be cohesive throughout the whole cabinet. So I'm going to be using a lot of silver. That's my one element that I'm going to be adding, besides a couple touches of pottery and greening, and of course books. We always have to have books in a cabinet, and also shelf styling. So to start off with, I'm going to be using again my grandma's antique tea set. I love this tea set. It is a family heirloom and I love putting it in this space every year. It just brings that homey factor, and it just, brings me joy every time I look at it. So I'm going to be using it in a grouping of 3 also. Anytime you decorate on a shelf, you want to make sure that you have your heaviest item on your left hand side. Your heaviest item can be done by height or it can be done in bulkiness. In this case, it is done in bulkiness, and it's also still put also in a grouping of 3. So I have my 3 elements in this little corner, which is my tea kettle, my sugar, and my creamer. So we're going to go ahead and start on this side, and you always want to make sure that you have, especially on the top shelf, you want to create interest in the back. Okay, so for summertime, I used a mirror for my element in the back, but this year I'm going to be using, for fall, I'm going to be using an oil painting. And when I saw this at Hobby Lobby, I immediately screamed fall, because pears are such a staple piece when it comes to fall. Not only is it bringing the antique feel with this gold frame, it's also giving me fall vibes with these amber colors. So I'm going to be pulling a lot of orange throughout the cabinet, and so this print is definitely a great start. So we're just going to go ahead and place it as so on this back part of the cabinet. And I'm going to go ahead and start decorating this side. Okay, now that I have my piece anchored in the back to create that visual interest, I'm going to go ahead and start creating groupings in this corner. I'm going to carry more of the silver by using this beautiful picture that I got secondhand. And I placed some pheasant feathers that I got from Amazon. I'll leave them in the description box down below. But I'm going to be using a lot of pheasants in my decorating this cabinet. And this just kind of pulls in those fall feels in this space without using greenery, because I am going to add greenery on the other side, so this is definitely a different take on that. So I'm just going to go ahead and create my grouping. I'm going to start off with this piece. I got this next piece. I'm going to go ahead and pull in the orange from the back. So anytime you're decorating any type of shelf, you want to pull your colors from either your print or also through pottery, just to create that interest, that visual interest. This is a McCoy piece that I picked up this year from Walnut, Iowa. If you guys have missed my haul, I will leave it in the description box down below, but I went down there during the summertime during Father's Day and picked up a whole bunch of beautiful antique pieces with my mom, and this was one of them. It is just a gorgeous piece. I know they're not maple leaves, this is like actually grapes, but it still gives me those fall feels because of the colors. So I don't know if you can see, I'm pulling those colors from the print into this gorgeous pottery piece. And we're just going to create a grouping of 3. So I need my third item. And I'm going to be using this gorgeous little piece, this etched silver that I got from Walnut, not from Walnut, I'm sorry, Junk Stock. I use this during summertime, and I'm just going to go ahead and shop my home and use it in this space. Well, I bought more of those pheasant feathers from Amazon. They come in several different sizes, and I figured that it would just create that like piece, you know, that carried element from one piece to the next.
To create the illusion of heaviness on the left, I'm going to go ahead and use this dried fern that I got from a floral. I will have it linked in the description box down below. I'm just going to go ahead and place it as so in the corner just to create that heaviness, and I'm going to also add a pop of orange by using this cute little apple that I got as a gift from my neighbor. She picked it up from New York City. It's adorable. I love that it's almost like dried and it looks very realistic.
Okay, now that we created our heaviness on the left, I also wanted to mention, besides our groupings of 3 on each side, you also want your shelf to have movement. You don't want it all in a straight line. So my tea set creates a movement by starting over here, and then it goes up around the picture frame and back down with the pheasant feathers, back up and back down and back up. So we created our movement here. It's not all in the same straight line. Our next shelf, we're going to add some interest over here by bringing the greenery. We want to make sure from shelf to shelf we do the opposites of each other. I have my silver piece here that I'm going to be, again, more silver carried from one shelf to the next. And I want to give you guys an idea. If we were to have the greenery stacked on top of each other, it looks stupid, right? So you want to make sure that you decorate in the opposite way. So the greenery is carried from this shelf down to the next shelf in the opposite direction. I did want to place my container over here, but it looks kind of, you know, a little bit bare. So I'm going to go ahead and use my same doily that I use for summertime. I'm going to be using a lot of doilies through my fall decor this year throughout my home. So I'm going to go ahead and place that as so over here in the corner just to have it anchor and just cover this space. I'm going to be using dried gourds as one of my elements throughout my cabinet, and these beauties I got secondhand from an antique store. I'm going to be using some ferns just to kind of carry on the ferns from the top shelf down to the next, and again more silver. So we're going to place it as so over in this space, in this corner.
Now let's add a different element in this space, and this glass box I recently got from Goodwill is the perfect thing. I almost rub and buffed it, but I decided to leave it. I'm glad I did. I also added more of those gourds, a little bit of pods in here, just some dried florals, just to kind of create something almost like a interesting box of treasures. I also saw a really cool pumpkin dried stem. I added that in there as well. When I went to Goodwill, I recently picked up this beautiful silver tray for $1.99. I'm going to place it in the back of the shelf. You guys don't necessarily have to place things on the back of the shelf on each space. You can do every other shelf, but I really love it because it just creates like a faux mirror, and it just creates a little bit of light in the space just to kind of peek through the ferns. Moving down to the next shelf, I wanted to add more brown just to kind of create that opposite look from the books above, pulling in those brown tones. I'm going to be using this sugar mold, and I'm going to add more silver. I'm using silverware that I've collected over the years. I'm going to add another doily, and again go the opposite direction so that way it keeps your eye moving up and down. I'm going to go ahead and use some family photos. This is my go-to in this little space. It creates that break from the other vignettes. This is a gorgeous picture of my grandmother, and I absolutely love the frame. I got it from Judy from LA Junction years back. It is gold, so it ties in perfectly with the top print of the pair on the top shelf. I'm going to be adding more antique prints. I like that they're black and white, so it just pulls in those black tones throughout my shelf. I'm going to create a little grouping over here. Moving over to the other side of the shelf, I'm going to add another photo. It is a picture of my grandma and grandpa on their wedding day. Now my next item is one of my all-time finds that I got from Goodwill last year are these dried artichokes. Aren't they beautiful? They have like that perfect amber tone. I just recently picked up these dried pods from my neighbor's tree and also added some pine cones in here just to create that dried interest. Placed it in a silver tray. I'm going to be using more of that red theory by placing this beautiful thrifted plate that I got. I love that it has maple leaves on it, so it pulls in those fall feels. You can also use a print that has all red tones or anything that just screams red. Even a pottery piece would be perfect. So I'm going to place it on the back of the shelf just to create that visual interest and also create movement, having your eye go up and down. I have recently been really obsessed with that cottage core English style and then also that Nancy Meyers inspired aesthetic. And I just remembered that I had this ribbon that I recently got from my fall haul from Hobby Lobby. If you missed that video, I'll leave it in the description box down below. But I thought, let's go ahead and tie it around the books just to create something almost like a grouping of something. And it added texture and it was just so cute. I love how this is turning out, and I'm going to add a different element onto these books just to kind of carry on those pheasant feathers. And so I stole one of those pheasant feathers from above and just placed it in front of the books, and it just looks awesome. I love how this is coming along. It's just that perfect little fall feel, that perfect touch, and to tie in that little feather is my cutest little find that I've got a couple years back. I'm not sure whether he's a quail or a pheasant. Leave a comment down below, but I did get it from Brass Armadillo and he was super cheap. Now we need some heaviness on the left, and I'm going to do that by using this thrifted hurricane that I got from Goodwill years back. I also wanted to add more texture, pull in more browns throughout the cabinet by using grapevine. I got this grapevine wreath for $1.99 and I took it apart. I literally took it apart and just spread it and put it on top. And then I added picks of those florals, those afloral ferns, just to create greenery in this space. Now the back was looking a little bit bare and I wanted to carry on orange from the top shelf down. So I saw this print from Hobby Lobby and I absolutely love it because it still had those orange amber tones. And again, it was a print of a pear. I placed a Velcro strip on the back and that's how I hung it in this space. For the last shelf, I really wanted to create something that was very inspirational as far as those fall feels. And the first thing that came to my mind is creating like a little mini pumpkin patch down below. To start decorating my pumpkin patch layer, I'm going to be using these beautiful picks that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I really absolutely love that they were green and orange amber tones, so it just tied every color in this space. And I'm going to place them on the silver tray, one on each corner and then one in the front. There was so many pumpkins for me to choose from this year, lots of them from Home Goods and Hobby Lobby, but this one was the winner. I absolutely love how realistic it looks. I picked it up from Hobby Lobby. It was $14.99 and then half off. Now I wanted to bring in those grapevines from the top shelf down, so I had some leftover picks that just kind of fell off as I was pulling them, and they were just magically laying on the pumpkin as I was decorating. And I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and add it on top just to create a little bit of like a texture. And I just feel like, you know, if they were in a pumpkin patch, those would be the vines that would be kind of attached to the pumpkin. So I kind of wanted to mimic that, and it just brought again a different element to this space. The one item that I can take when decorating is just to make your florals as realistic as possible. And to do that, I use actual real florals along with my fake florals. So these dried leaves I got from Joann's years ago, and I'm going to be sprinkling them on the bottom of my patch, but I also want to let you guys know I will be using these everywhere in my home. They're amazing. If you ever see real leaves that are dried, pick them up if they are your color. They're just perfect to sprinkle in with your fake florals. And finally, the last element that we're going to be using to decorate my cabinet, and that is pine cones. It is a natural element, it is very inexpensive, and it just creates that perfect texture that you need in your fall decor. Something very almost like woodsy like. I'm going to also be adding it throughout the top shelves. Let me know, guys, if you guys are planning on using pine cones in your fall decor this year. I'm thinking about using them in my dining room table as well. And here is the final look of my Pottery Barn cabinet for fall. It definitely brought a coziness mixed with antique feels and natural elements. I love how everything turned out this year. Okay friends, that's it for today's video. I hope I inspired you guys in decorating this year for fall by using a lot of silver and also dried elements. If you guys have any questions on any of the tips and tricks or any of the items that I use to decorate my Pottery Barn cabinet, please leave a comment down below, or you can visit me on my Instagram page at My Simple Valley Home. We also have a lot of fall content coming out. I'm going to be decorating my living room, my entryway table, and my dining room. So hit that subscribe button so you guys get notified for those future videos. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great weekend. Bye, friends.